Let's add a menu to our custom block entity. Even more topics available in the 121 Minecraft modding courses, now with energy and fluid handling for block entities next to many other awesome topics. Alright, Professor Baker telling once more, and in this tutorial we'll be adding a menu to our block entity. So last time we have added the pedestal block entity, and that was able to store an item when we right-clicked it, and it even rendered it with a custom block entity renderer. But now we also want to be able to shift right click it and it opens a menu then. And that's going to be quite interesting indeed. Now for this menu, we need to do a couple of things. The first thing is in the actual block entity class, we want to implement another interface. And that's going to be the extended screen handler, factory of type block pause. There we go. We'll hover over this and implement the three methods that we need, and we're going to take those, and I just wanted to situate them above the synchronization methods over here. That's just a personal preference. I just like to have these methods at the very bottom, so then I know roughly how the layout of the class looks like. The get screen opening data method, very straightforward. This.pause, super simple. Get display name method, we're going to return text.literal, and this is going to be the pedestal here. And the screen handler, well, we don't have one yet, and that is going to be created in just a second. So we basically need to make a custom class that's going to be both a screen and a screen handler. And those are going to be in the tutorial mod package under a new package called screen. Inside of there, we'll make another new package called custom. And that's going to have both of the pedestal screen as well as the pedestal screen handler. There we go. And in the screen package itself, we'll also have the mod screen handlers class in order to properly register these screen handlers. Now, one question might be, what is the difference here between a screen and a screen handler? That's kind of strange. I agree. However, that is the way that Minecraft basically does it. The screen is responsible for, this is client only. So the screen only shows you something for the client, basically meaning it renders the GUI, right? So the GUI is going to look kind of like this. Let me just get this. So that's going to be under tutorial mod textures, and then a new folder under textures called GUI. And inside of there, another new folder called pedestal. And then there is going to go the pedestal underscore GUI.png. Of course, also available to you down below. And you can see it's fairly simple. And the idea here is that this image, right, the literal just image, that is what the screen does. And then any type of hovering effect. So when you hover over and you take an item out and you put it somewhere else, that is all done in the screen handler, right? So that basically sort of handles the screen. So that synchronizes more or less client and server stuff. And that is what that does. So that's quite important. And let's then start actually with the screen handler, because that's a little bit easier. And the screen handler looks kind of like this. It will extend from the screen handler class. I'm going to hover over this to implement the two methods we need. Hover over this again, create constructor matching super, and the constructor is going to change quite a bit. So first of all, we're going to make this public. I'm going to delete the type over here so that the sync ID is the only first parameter here. Then we'll make a player inventory. So this is going to be the player inventory. I'm going to call this the player inventory. The third parameter is a block position. So block pause, and there's going to be pause over here. And then instead of the super, what we're actually going to do is we're going to call this. So we're going to call another constructor over here, passing in the sync ID, passing in the player inventory. And the third parameter is going to be player inventory.player.getWorld. Not get world spawn pause, but actually just getting the world dot get block entity, passing in the position over here. Now you can see that is kind of strange. I absolutely agree once again, but that is basically the way that we can get the proper position of our block entity. And we'll hover over the arrow right here, and instead of adapting it, we actually want to go to more actions and create constructor in pedestal screen handler. That is going to create a second constructor where in the super, we're first of all going to put in a comma and then passing in the sync ID. The first parameter in the super call, we can't actually add yet because that is the registered type and we haven't registered our screen handler just yet. So we're going to keep this empty for a moment. Next step is we want to add the inventory. This is going to be a private final inventory, and there's going to be the inventory right here. That's basically just going to be our block entity that we have access to. And because we only need to have this be an inventory, that's going to be fine. We're going to say this.inventory is equal to block entity and then casting this to an inventory. And that should work totally fine because it is the implemented inventory and therefore there should be no issues there whatsoever. Then, of course, the actual screen handler is responsible for, like I said, the handling of the screen, meaning that it needs to somehow know, okay, where are my different slots situated, right? And the way to do this is, first of all, we're going to define the slot of the pedestal itself. So there's going to be this one right here. That's going to look like this.add slot. I want to make a new slot and passing into the inventory, passing in 0 as the index, and then 80 and 35 for X and Y coordinates. Now you might ask, okay, where does the X and Y coordinate come from? Well, if we go to the top left corner of the screen over here, of the pedestal GUI, and we go 80 pixels right and 35 pixels down, we end up right here where this particular slot starts. And that's the idea, and that is where that comes from. And we also need to add, for every screen handler, we always need to add both the hotbar as well as the entire inventory. And those two look kind of like this. So those are going to be two helper methods, which are almost always going to look exactly the same, as long as the position of your inventory and the hotbar is the same, then those numbers are all fine. I also highly recommend play around with them a little bit and see what happens. That is also a good idea. Now, those two are then called in the following order. We first of all call the add player inventory, passing in the player inventory, and then add player hotbar, passing in, once again, the player inventory. That's going to be this mostly done. The can use method is fairly straightforward. It's simply going to be this.inventory.canPlayerUse, passing in the player. And the quick stack method is a little more complicated. I will actually copy over the contents of this because, like I said, it's a little bit more complicated, but it is going to be exactly the same for basically every one of your screen handlers. It just handles the shift left clicking ability. Idea being, if I obviously have an item in here and I shift left click it, then it should go into the inventory. And if I were to click it out, then it's going to go into my inventory and it's going to handle all of those calculations, you know, on their own, right? If you can add to an original stack, if the stack is not, you know, things like that, that all is doable via this, and it just does that. It basically just works. All right, finally, we have the super call over here, which of course is going to be handled with the mod screen handlers. This is not too crazy over here. Public static final, of course, a screen handler type of type pedestal screen handler. It's going to be the pedestal underscore screen underscore handler equal to registry, making sure we choose net micro registry. Very important. Once again, dot register, registries dot screen handler, an identifier of tutorial mod ID, and this is going to be the pedestal screen handler. There we go. After the first closing parentheses, a comma, and then a new extended screen handler type. We're going to leave the angled brackets empty. I'm going to say pedestal screen handler : new, and then a second parameter, which is going to be blockpause.packet codec, and there we have it. So the reason why we need the extended screen handler over here is so that we actually pass in the position as well. That's just the way that I found this to work. The way that this works in 1.21 is, you know, has changed significantly as per usual, and this is basically the way that everything works over here. So yeah, that's the whole idea. And of course here, you still need a public static void register screen handlers method over here with tutorial mod.logger, and we're just going to say info registering screen handlers for mod ID. Once again, the logger call is not strictly necessary. I just like to add it. But of course, we do need to call this mod screen handlers.register screen handlers. The method has to be called, and then we should be good to go. That is going to be the screen handlers done. We can close the GUI, and then in the screen handler class, we can say mod screen handlers.pedestal screen handler. That is also done, and we can basically do the screen now. And like I said, the screen is actually fairly straightforward. It will simply extend from the handled screen of type pedestal screen handler. We're going to hover over this to implement the draw background method. And we're going to hover over this again, create constructor matching super. Then here, we're going to have a singular identifier as a field. Very straightforward as well. This is going to be, of course, tutorial mod. GUI texture over here is under textures, GUI pedestal underscore GUI.png. I'm pretty sure that should be very self-explanatory that this simply points to our GUI texture. Do not forget the .png. That is very important as well. And when it gets to the draw background method over here, well, that is looking like this. The first three lines over here, the setting of the shader color, and the shader texture, those are just sort of generic things that we always have to do in order to draw the background. I won't go too deeply into that. That's just going to be the case. And then we have an X and Y, which just gives us the proper coordinates to actually draw this. And you can see then we use the draw context and we're drawing the GUI texture at the position X and Y with no offset and with a background width and a background height of, we can actually go into this, 176 times 166. Idea being that the actual image, so the image file, is 256 by 256. However, the thing that's displayed is 177 high. This is correct, right? Not 177 high is the, no, it's width. Okay, 176 width and 166 height. That's the idea, and that's basically how those numbers come to be. And you can change this if you pass in 2 more numbers over here. Those would then be the texture width and height, so the actual image width and height. But you don't have to. If it's 256 by 256 like this, then it's totally fine. And that's pretty much everything that we need in the screen too. I know, it's pretty crazy. And we now just need to combine or register the screen. That's going to happen in the tutorial mode client class. And that's going to look kind of like this. It's going to be handled screens dot register, passing in mod screen handlers dot pedestal screen handler, and then pedestal screen : new. And that is it. That's the entire thing combined. We can then go back to the pedestal block entity to create that menu right here. Well, how complicated is this? Very straightforward. Pedestal, a new pedestal screen handler, passing in the sync ID, passing in the player inventory, and then passing in this.position, so this.pause over here, because we wanted to give him basically the position. And the last step is we somehow need to be able to open this menu, and the opening of the menu, that happens in the pedestal block class in the onUseWithItem method, because, well, that's going to be the right-clicking method, and it's going to be super freaking simple. We simply are going to add another else if statement right here, and that is going to look like this. If we are sneaking and we are not on the client, meaning that we are on the server, then player.openHandledScreen, passing in the pedestal block entity. The reason why we can do this is because the pedestal block entity has this extended screen handler factory implemented, and that's why we can simply pass this in, and it's just going to work. I think that is pretty freaking neat, and that is basically everything we need in this case. Now, I believe because of the order of this, that that it might have like a tiny, I wouldn't say bug necessarily, but it's going to, for a second, I think, remove the whatever is in there, and then it's going to reappear. I think that might happen, but we're going to see that in a second when we actually look at this. But that is the entire idea of the menu. As you can see, it's not that crazy. However, it's still quite an involved process, I will admit that. With that said though, let's jump into the game and see if it works. Alright, fans, we're back in Minecraft, and if I were to crouch right-click, you can see I can open the frickin' menu, and I can put out or get out the redstone dust, and I can even put it back in. I can, you know, do all sorts of crazy things. I can put this in. So the only thing here that might be an issue is that you can, you know, place more in there than, well, was originally intended, right? So the right-clicking, obviously, you can only place in one of them. However, when I actually right-click like this, then I can place multiple items in there. Now, I am getting all of them out, that's at least a, you know, kind of a good thing. But that is one thing that we can still fix, though. But as you can see, it all freaking works. That is absolutely freaking fantastic. And yeah, let's just quickly take a look at the thing about the number of items in there. Now, we should be able to change this by going to the screen handler and making the slot over here an anonymous class. And here, I believe there should be a limit method. Well, let's just see. Override can insert. There should be a, is this one right here, the get max item count method, which if we set this to 1, in theory, it should make it so that this particular slot can only ever have 1 item inside of it as well. So that should basically, well, make it so that you can only actually put in 1 item. Let's take a look. And if I'm back over here and I try to put all of them in, you can see it only lets me put in 1. Even if I shift click to this, it only ever lets me put in 1 item at a time. Absolutely fantastic. And that is a custom menu added to our block entity. Awesome. And just a quick addendum over here for the pedestal screen. It's actually quite important that we also override the render method and add the draw mouse over tooltip over here, passing in the context, passing in mouse X and mouse Y, because you may or may not have noticed, but within the pedestal screen, the items actually don't have any names when you hover over them, and that will fix it. So now it's going to look kind of like this. There we go. We now have names to all of our items, just like we are supposed to. And as always, all of the code is available to you down below in the description in the GitHub repository, but that's going to be it for this tutorial right here. Next time in this video, we'll add a crafting block entity. Hope to see you there. So, yeah.